segment this week, we will be talking with the president of Pengasan, Comrade Olabode Johnson. He will be sharing with us what the oil and gas sector is faced with, especially the issue of anti-labor practices and anti-unionism in many IOCs. Take a listen. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much. It's good to have you too. Thank you. It's my pleasure.
A lot is happening in the oil and gas sector, especially anti-labor practice in Petrobras. What's your take on this?
Well, I want to sincerely appreciate you. And you are doing a good job, and you should keep it up. For anti-labor practices in the oil and gas, is unfortunate, and it's more pronounced in some of these IOCs. And we have an issue now with one of them, and that's Petrobras. We have an issue that we have an agreement with CBA, agreement with staff, and they're also planning divestment. And the management are not ready and not willing to discuss exit packages for staff that will be affected. We've written a letter to every government agencies, and if nothing is done, in view of the political situation in the country, Labour will have no choice than to also stand, go on a strike to compel everybody. Because you cannot have somebody working with you for years and you want to divest. Definitely, nobody's not going to say you should not divest, but there must be exit packages that's in tandem with minimum labor standards. And if you are not doing that, definitely we will not accept it. And this is something that also discussed at the Pengasan Forum. So at least in the coming week, we're going to also issue a letter, a statement to government, especially Ministry of Labour, that let's call these people together and see what we can also do about it. They also on Nekonde, secret to our agreement we have with timelines. Up to now, Nekonde management is not allowing to drive in that place. And we also not comfortable with that because there must be freedom of organization. Like what happened in MTN with NLC picketing. And those are the issues I was saying. But in view of the political situation in the country, the tension that's building up, it's better the government address this issue. Because we're also saying the balance is stitch in time saves nine.
Talking about Nekonde, which you just mentioned, I remember very clearly that Pengasan had actually held several picketing exercises in that company. What's the update in terms of the management of Nekonde allowing workers to unionize?
Well, for unionization in the oil and gas sector, even mostly all over, we have very profitable industries and all over the world. Unionization are collaborative efforts. One, in benefits management, when there are issues that have to do with government or anything, that management can also take frontally. That's why the CDO come in. And I give you a good example. When we came on board, there was an issue of cash costs that was being owed by the IOCs. And that time, that was around 2014 when we came on board. You see most of the service contracts at the bottoms of this world, TechCon, all of them, disengaging ourselves because cash costs are being owed. One of the companies was being owed more than $90 million that IOCs are owing them. And when the labor look at it, Pengasan look at that, it can't continue this way. If that thing had continued, maybe by now, Pengasan will not be in existence. And we wrote a series of letters to the government, this present government, and one of the things they said was that, yes, these are things they inherited, almost about $6-7 billion inherited. I won't say because they inherited it, and that time, when these bills were accumulating, oil was going for, crude oil was going for 120, 130, 110. And when the government came on board, it was almost 40, roving behind 40, 35. And we said, well, for us at Labour, government is continuing. Whatever we need to do to address this issue. And we also want to commend government that we have to see together and we have to address it. And one of the ways we address it was that, okay, for now, because of the dwindling revenue for the country, let there be increment in production. So that if you're supposed to be doing 1.6, increase to 1.8. So whatever you get on top of that, you are using to also be settling them. And which, to some extent, stabilize the industry. And so that's the role of union. They also are also coming, but they couldn't come out. But the unions in the IOCs and the service sector met the national body and we said, okay, we must do it. We did a strike on July 12, 2016, and until it was resolved. Do you see us going on strike again? So that's the role of labor. We must collaborate with management, because for every labor leader, you look at it that the company must continue to survive, so that you can also aspire to be at the top of management. But we also look at it that it's either what I get now or the company goes down. No. So those are the benefits accruing to both management and the union and staff in a very good relationship of organization in the oil and gas.
Talking about the refineries, I would like to ask, what's your take on the rehabilitation exercise going on in ensuring that we have the refineries up and running?
I think what we also give it to the management of NNPC under the leadership of Dr. Barrow is that the issue of refinery rehabilitation has been taken holistically as just a sense of sincerity. And I also look at it to also make sure that they engage partners. I mean, by trade by barter or anything, to say they can also do it. And I believe they are on track. If past governments have done this, it won't be where we are today. And the government of recent also have an agreement, that's Kwasina State government, which was also granted by the federal government to also have a refinery, which is also good. You know, because once you have that, you can also look at it that you can see now that due to the state of refineries and the workability of them coming on board, importation has also reduced drastically. And I'm also glad that the marketers are also being paid, efforts have been made to pay them their money. So with that, you can see there is peace in the industry. And for NMC management and NMC management and the unions, at every level, the unions have been carried along. And I keep saying, if you are going to do X, Y, Z, we are not against it. The organization must survive, and the union must also survive. But if you carry us along, we know the nitty-gritty. It's the union that also get back to the floor members and tell them that there are no threats to jobs. What everybody is doing is to make sure that things are afloat, we can continue to take care of ourselves, the country will continue to be buoyant. And I think it's a good way to go.
The issue of minimum wage is of top interest to an average Nigerian worker at the moment, as also the vice president of, as the deputy president of the Trade Union Congress. What's the discussion like in ensuring that a new minimum wage is achieved anytime from now?
On the issue of national minimum wage, when you also look at it, you see governors owing salary is ungodly. And the issue of minimum wage is something that also is long overdue. Because once you have, and it's not about minimum wage, it should be a wage, a living wage that is affordable, that can also give everybody a decent life. 18,000 is nothing, you know. And when you, so we're happy that at least every stakeholder is involved. NLC, TUC, the National Economic Council, that's the governors and federal government, everybody is involved. That what you can see, what you can pay. Not that they all agree, and because of political consideration, they are owing. They're not going to keep to it. And I think for politicians and governors, you can see what's happening in some of the states. A state in question was an election was held, and teachers are being owed 8 months salary, pensioners are being owed 11 months, and retirees are also being owed. So with that kind of a thing, then about 2-3 days to an election, you now start paying money to their account to come and vote for you. And how would they do it? You have not been paying somebody, and now because election is coming, you now start paying a party sum of money to their account to see. So I think it's a good step, and so also using the forum to also let workers in states the salaries are being owed, and when they are going for elections, hold the governor by the ball and tell them that whatever money you're going to send to them secretly on the day of election, you vote them out. Because I've never seen where a governor is being owed, where after borrowing money, taking bailout funds, you are being owed salary. Your aides are being owed. I've never had it. But the workers that are generating this money, they're also working strenuously to also make sure that the state survive are being owed. It's not too good. And so that is why the minimum wage is good. And I believe and I pray that government should also look at it and see how they can also round it up, because we're also looking at it that it's going to be in September. They can fast track it. The interest of Nigerians should be paramount in every politician. You can fast track it and pay. And that can also be good mileage for you.
There's this synergy that we are seeing between labor and politics, and a lot of labor leaders that actually signified interest in vying for different political office. What's your view on labor and politics? What's the synergy like?
Well, for every human being, either you're a labor leader or anyone, every Nigerian, we're all political animals. We have it in us. But as much as possible as labor, it must also be very, very bipartisan. It must be very, very bipartisan. And speaking on even the political atmosphere, I think the best way for this country to go is we have to look for a way to have a two-party system. Where we miss it was the NRC, SDP days, when we have ideologies. That will also put a stop to this gale of defections from party A to party B, party C. And when you also do that, you look at that, it's also going to unite the country. Exactly. You find out that Northerners will be in party A, Southerners will be in party B. The amalgamation, you see everybody. Instead of spending money on these fringe parties, like you have about 100 and something parties, and without mushroom offices, and NEC is paying their subvention. So those money can be used in productive ways. You see election, you see somebody calling 1 vote, 10 votes, and everything. So that's waste of money, waste of resources. At this time that the country is scanning for money. So talking about labor leaders taking offices, for me, if as a labor leader you want to go into full-time politics, it's either you switch your job or you leave politics. When you have finished your job, it's just like I had when some emir rulers have been, some traditional rulers have been saying that showing involvement in politics or religious leaders. So if you know you want to go into it, leave the pulpit, go into politics. You can't serve God and mammon. So if you're a labor leader, you want to go fully involved, I mean, you have an office, you don't take advantage of that office. Because definitely, for example, I'm Pengasi president, and I'm saying I'm going to declare for ADP or party or Labour Party or anyone to contest for position. That means within the rank and file of the association, I put the sympathy with APC, PDP, ADC, all of them. So how do I govern them? That means I'm taking a stand. So I'm politically biased, which is also against the tenets of the democracy, that I'm supposed to be very, very neutral. But in every one of us, we are all political animals. We have sympathy for party or B. So at the end of the day, Nigerians will be the one that also vote and vote.
Contract staffing is one big issue that the oil and gas sector is faced with. What's the government intervention so far? Because I know that the union has made several positions before now, trying to remind the government that it's of utmost importance that we have more of the IOCs having more regular staffs and not contract staffs in the sector, because as it is now, we have more than 80% of workers in the oil companies as contract staffs.
Well, the government is doing bits, and we're also doing our own bits. But also, about last week, a letter was sent to labor in the oil and gas, that's Pengasi in the pen, because there was a committee that was set up to address this thing holistically. And that committee was under the headship of the late Minister of State for Labor. And now that we have another Minister of State for Labor, I think we are trying to have a common way, set up that committee that will address every issue that got to relate with it. You have some companies, not in oil and gas anyway, that are giving before, prior to now, 3 months, 6 months, and all those kind of rollover and everything. Those are issues that also need to be addressed. You know, it's just not the best that you turn people to, slave trading, slave traders, slavery in their own country. It's not too good. But the government has set up, the Minister of Labour has written a letter to us, Pengasi in the pen, send out your nomination so that you can look at the terms of reference, how they're going to finish it, and all the issues holistically be addressed. And I also want to say that apart from oil and gas, it also cut across all the labor, all the industry. So the government should also look at in banks and everywhere, it's not only oil and gas, so that if they can look at it holistically and make sure that what is good for party A is good for B. And all Nigerians also can also be happy. But it's unfortunate because like a company, when you see retired military officers in states, in countries like America, US, coming to Nigeria to a security position, which is bad. I think there was an executive order signed by President Obasanjo at that time, that if you have head party, if you have head top security personnel in your country of origin, state of origin, country of origin, you cannot come to Nigeria and take up employment at the head of security, which is dangerous to the integrity, intelligence, and the nation's security. So I think those are issues we also need to be addressed, that we have competent Nigerians. And I also want to say that local content should also be speed up, be unbiased. Then government agencies like DPR, NAPIMS, everybody should also be unbiased and make sure that the interests of Nigerians and Nigerian nation is taken paramount. We could not look for any way to subvert most of these things for the larger interest of the Nigerian nation.
Is there any industrial plan in place for the oil and gas companies that are operating in the country who refuse to obey Nigerian labor laws?
Well, the one critical issue that also Riani said is the issue of job offshoring. And the issue of job offshoring entails something like this. You have an IOC that's based in Nada Eket, Lagos, Port Harcourt, anywhere. And they have companies in places like Dubai, in neighboring African countries. You now take the jobs that Nigerians can do here, take it to that place. Just like what happened during the days of MTN, that they're bringing the charge cards in South Africa. Like the government said, everything must be done in this country. So that is coming up, and we are addressing it. And we're also using this forum to say that for us, we will not accept that. And that's the essence of local content. That's why Nigerian content was set up, to make sure that Nigerians take ownership and we have indigenization of the oil and gas industry. It's wrong. Then we also have an issue in Chevron, where we have about 150 members of our members that also been on something like on fringe. And I think we also met management that, let's see, if you're going to be taking their numbers gradually, as the severance or easy package you are doing, let those guys also be coming, let them be coming on board. Because in the industry is, I mean, for now, until government can put its stand full on the diversification, that's the mainstay of the economy. So we must make sure we do everything possible that Nigerians get the most benefits of being an oil-producing country.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And that's all we can take on today's edition of the program. Join us next week for a fresh edition of the show. I am Sharon Ijason. Thanks for watching, and remember, labor creates wealth.